Hi, thank you for having me. The U.S. State Department made clear, Secretary Rubio stated clear that the United States goal in this operation is to first ensure that Iran has no nuclear weapons capability, and secondly, to eliminate their ability to have offensive weapons capability. So I think you'll continue to see the Americans and the Israeli forces work on eliminating Iranian weapon sites, their missile launchers, and their drone sites until that threat has been eliminated. And clearly, I saw today Iran launched a large strike on Israel. Now, Iran may see that as a sign of strength, but every time Iran launches a missile, the United States and Israel identifies where that missile comes from, and then they eliminate that launch site. The United States, while they have achieved a great deal in a short amount of time of this war, Iran still has offensive capabilities. So I don't believe the United States will stop the war until Iran's offensive weapon capabilities, their missiles and their drone capabilities have been eliminated, until the United States is confident that Iran cannot obtain a nuclear weapon, or we see significant regime change. Regime change in Iran would, I think that would make a big impression or a big first step to bringing peace in the region. But if there is no regime change, the United States will have to be satisfied that the current regime no longer can strike neighboring nations or NATO forces in the area. I think he'll have something significant to announce. President Trump speaks to the news media more than any other president I've seen. So for him to hold a national press conference and to speak to the nation and the world tonight, I believe he does have something significant to disclose, and we'll see what that is tonight. Hopefully it's a pathway to peace, and hopefully it's something significant in the war. I think he may address that, and he may also address the imminent threat that Iran poses to the United States and the free world, and especially its neighbors, like our friends in Kurdistan. But we have to remember, the United States entered the global war on terror on 2001. 26 years later, we're still fighting this. The Iran war is not a new war. This is simply a continuation of the same war. Iran has been engaging U.S. forces in Iraq and Afghanistan throughout the entire time the United States has been there. So this continues to be the global war on terror because Iran has been supporting and backing many of the proxy groups and terrorist groups the United States has been engaging. Finally, the United States is looking to cut the head off the snake and end this war, because it will never end until there is regime change in Iran and the Iranian people are once again in charge of their own nation. I think the president will have to clearly illustrate to Congress the need and the necessity for the war, and that's difficult. After 9/11, America was attacked, and it was a clear-cut response. What President Trump is arguing is that he's preventing another catastrophic event like 9/11 by ensuring Iran never has the ability to use nuclear weapons. So he'll have to lay out some facts to Congress to support his position. However, keeping U.S. forces engaged in this conflict does not require the full support of Congress. He has the authority to continue on at this point. I think it'll be very interesting to see what facts he lays out tonight to the world. Regime change is not required for the United States to achieve their objectives. I do think regime change would help achieve those objectives quickly. The United States' main objective is to ensure that Iran no longer has the ability to develop nuclear weapons and to also eliminate their offensive weapons capability. Iran had massed an enormous amount of missile and drone capabilities. So the United States is moving to eliminate that, so Iran can no longer threaten neighboring nations with their offensive strikes through missile and drone capabilities. That is not necessary. Regime change is not necessary to eliminate the Iranian military's capabilities to reach out and strike their neighbors. Currently tonight, we know the Iranian Navy has been reduced significantly. By most estimates, are over 90% of the Iranian Navy has been sunk. And every day Iran continues to launch, more of their batteries are eliminated, more missile underground storage sites are eliminated, and it's a matter of time. Iran is no longer able to create these new weapons, and they're using up what stockpiles they have left. Soon they will run out. But let's hope regime change occurs and the Iranian people can once again control their nation, and we can have peace in the region. This isn't a paradox. The warthogs are going to be used to help secure the strait. The warthogs are an excellent weapons platform. It's very old, but it was one of the most useful aircraft in Iraq and Afghanistan, and is proving itself to be extremely useful and eliminating Iranian Navy targets that are on the water. So no, these aircraft will help secure the strait and secure the coastal battery areas that could strike shipping going through that area. Again, the president is staging everything in the arena, everything in the Middle East that he may want to use. Just because it's on hand doesn't mean he's necessarily going to use it, but these give him more options. Withdraw from NATO? No. I do think that these, yes. Can you hear me? Have you got me now? Okay. Yeah, no, I do not believe the United States will leave NATO. I believe those statements are an effort to try and get the NATO alliance to engage more and support the United States. Since NATO was formed, the United States has financed the majority of European defense without much assistance. Today, the United States financing and armament of Ukraine has helped keep Europe safe from Russian aggression. And when the United States asked for assistance in addressing the Iran threat, NATO did not respond in a way they should have. So I think there are going to be very tough talks with NATO. However, I do not believe the United States will ever abandon the NATO agreement and leave that partnership. No. President Trump, we've all seen him. President Trump will continue to criticize NATO until he gets what he wants. This is part of his negotiating tactics. This is how he does business. Of course, this upsets a lot of people. However, President Trump has been able to get NATO to already increase their own funding. The NATO nations are now contributing more than they ever have in the past under past presidents. But I think we can anticipate President Trump continuing to criticize NATO until he gets them to assist the United States and contribute in a way that they want. I believe NATO will want to possibly provide a peacekeeping effort after the primary conflict is over. I don't see NATO wanting to directly engage. Of course, these European nations are also trying to limit their engagement out of fear for terror attacks in their own nations. We know that Iran has proxy groups throughout the world, and everybody is on alert for attacks from these groups. But to answer your question, no, I don't believe NATO or European nations will directly engage with Iran. However, once the war is over, I do believe we can anticipate NATO keeping ships in the area to keep the peace and defend shipping. Yeah, this is what we call psychological warfare, or psyops. This is propaganda put out meant to upset the masses and create turmoil and create conflict, and it will work. There are Americans that will be upset, feeling that we're in this war simply to help Israel, and it will work to a certain extent. But it's a very common practice. Iran is very good. The only thing that Iran is better at than propaganda is laying roadside bombs. Those two things, the Iranian government is very good at those two things. But it's simple propaganda. We've dealt with it in the past. When I was in Erbil, we dealt with Iranian propaganda at that time as well. It's something that we're used to seeing and hearing. Most likely there is good negotiations and progress being made behind the scenes, depending on who the United States is talking to. Of course, it's difficult for the United States to talk with and broker and negotiate with Iranian officials because everybody in Iranian leadership at the highest levels have been killed in this war so far. And so the individual that the United States needs to speak with has been changing. But I'm optimistic they have made progress. In the past, we know Iran just simply tries to delay and doesn't negotiate in good faith. But of course, Iran has never been this weak, and the RGC and this administration in Iran has never been this weak. We'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to the president's words tonight and to try and see what the truth is here. At the end of the day, only time will tell who is telling the truth here.